I finally got around to watching Fury, and honestly, I think this movie gets way more credit than it deserves. It wants to be this brutal, emotional war story that sticks with you, but for me, it kept bouncing between being genuinely powerful and trying way too hard to convince me it was deep. Before I get into it, like and follow if you're into movie reviews where we actually say what we think. So Fury is basically about a battle-hardened tank crew in the final days of World War II. Their assistant driver gets killed, and a brand new clerk named Norman gets thrown into the crew with almost no combat experience. From there, it's about surviving impossible missions while Norman slowly loses the innocence he walked into the war with. That's the whole point of the movie, and honestly, that's also where most of its strengths and weaknesses come from. The biggest problem is that Fury mistakes being shocking for being meaningful. It throws horrific moments at you one after another, but after a while it feels like it's saying the same thing over and over. We get it. War is ugly. We get it. People lose their humanity. The movie keeps asking me to feel the same pain in slightly different ways without really giving those moments enough room to breathe. That doesn't mean it has nothing going for it, because when it works, it really works. Brad Pitt carries this movie. War Daddy feels like someone who's been broken by years of war, but still somehow keeps functioning because he doesn't know any other way. He's not trying to be inspirational, he's just trying to keep his crew alive. That quiet exhaustion makes him far more interesting than if he'd just been another tough guy commander. Norman's journey is probably the strongest part of the film too. Early on, he's horrified when War Daddy forces him to shoot a captured German soldier. It's uncomfortable to watch, and it's supposed to be later. By the time he's mowing down soldiers without freezing, you can clearly see how the war has changed him. That's good character development because the movie actually earns it instead of flipping a switch overnight. The tank crew also has great chemistry. These guys feel like they've been trapped together for years, constantly insulting each other, arguing over nothing, then immediately trusting each other when bullets start flying. That part feels authentic and it gives the quieter scenes more weight than the action. But then there are scenes that completely took me out of the movie. The apartment sequence with the two German women starts off as one of the few moments where everyone actually feels human again. For a few minutes, the movie slows down and lets the characters breathe. Then the rest of the crew barges in, and instead of building tension naturally, it turns into this awkward confrontation that feels like the movie forcing drama, because it doesn't trust silence. And then we get to the ending. I know this is the part a lot of people love, but I honestly couldn't buy it. Five guys deciding to stay behind and fight an entire SS battalion inside a disabled tank makes for a cool-ass stand. But it feels more like a war legend than something grounded in the gritty realism the rest of the movie keeps trying to sell. The action is exciting, but I stopped believing it. Once that happened, the emotional payoff didn't hit nearly as hard as it probably should have. Real talk, I don't think Fury trusts its own best moments. Whenever it slows down and lets the characters simply exist, it's genuinely interesting. But then it feels like it panics and throws another explosion, another execution, or another brutal scene at you just to remind you that war is terrible. The movie doesn't need to keep shouting. Its quieter moments already prove the point. That's why I came away feeling pretty mixed. I didn't hate it. There are some genuinely great performances, solid tank combat, and a few scenes that absolutely stick with you. But I also think it's trying so hard to be remembered as one of the great modern war films that it sometimes forgets to simply tell its story. So yeah, for me, Fury lands at a 5 out of 10, not because it's unwatchable and definitely not because it's badly made. It's because I can clearly see the better movie trapped inside it, a movie that trusted its characters more than its constant need to shock the audience. That's my take. Did Fury hit harder for you than it did for me? Or do you think it's one of the most overrated war movies out there? Let me know. And if you like movie reviews that don't sound like a press release, make sure to follow.